meeting to order. We're going to start this morning with open forum, and we do have somebody that wants to speak this morning. All right, step up to the mic, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay. My name is Joanne Dozier. I live here in Bella Vista, and I have an issue with the water department. On December 19th of last year, I found water bubbling up from the new asphalt on the street in front of my yard, in front of my house. It was running down the street and then into my yard towards my house. I reported it to the water department, and one of your employees said, yes, we know the pipes are old. We wait for them to break, then we fix them. I'm sorry? Oh, sure, I'm sorry. It sounds loud to me, I'm sorry. Okay. On December 28th, I found my basement flooded from edge to edge, covered in white silt, the same color as the gravel used to fill the hole on the street. The next day, I left a message for Water Department Supervisor David Fletcher, reached out to my contractor and my insurance. It was confirmed a tremendous amount of water had come from outside into the basement, and the likely source was the water main break on the road above my house. Later that week, David and Water Department Director Charlie Holt came to view the damage, and both agreed that it had been caused by the water main break. Charlie stood in my dining room and said to me, save your receipts so we can reimburse you. He submitted the claim info to Heath Wyatt, who agreed the damages were obviously from the water main break, and everyone felt confident that Travelers would accept and cover the claim. 2 weeks later, James Young from Travelers also agreed the damage was from the break, but that just because something happened didn't mean it was negligent. He cited sovereign immunity as the excuse not to cover the claim. It was denied on February the 10th. My lawyer cited several cases in Northwest Arkansas communities where this type of damage has been covered by the city even after the insurance has declined it, and so that's what I'm asking the POA to do, is to cover these damages that I have had to repair and replace, because it's the right thing to do, and other cities in the area have done it. I'm an artist. I bought my house because of the basement. I use it as my studio. I lost artwork, paintings, quilt tops, blankets, all kinds of things that I can never recreate, and not to mention the furnishings and everything that you would typically have in a basement. To date, I've spent almost $19,000 to fix the damages from your water main break. I lived in my home for 10 years, I take good care of it, and there's no scenario where I am responsible for these charges. I have no access to or control over the water pipes, and am the victim here. Any reasonable person can agree the POA is responsible for this, and I would appreciate being reimbursed for the expenses, and I would like an apology. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have paperwork and things to hand out as well for you.
Okay. Anybody else? Are you just here with her? Okay. Okay.
You can hand out your paperwork if you'd like to.
Okay, great. I have your names on them, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. So in here, I have a little more information, dates and timeline as far as what happened, and then I have photographs, and then I have a breakdown of the expenses.
You want Jackie's?
Oh, I'm here. I just wanted to make sure I had one for everybody.
There's Jackie's.
Yeah, I'll hold
Just so we are clear on kind of how this works, I don't know if you've viewed any of our, so when we have open forum, you present your case and then we respond. It's really not a huge back and forth type of situation, just so we understand.
Sure. I was actually hoping somebody would go first so I would know how to do it.
Gotcha.
So can I sit down?
You absolutely can. Absolutely. Thank you.
And And I'm Tom Judson. We haven't met you. We have exchanged emails. You asked about how you could make a statement to the board, and I provided you that information. So, and I'll be here after the meeting if you want to speak with me in more depth. I have no problem doing that. So, a couple things. You mentioned Travelers. We have Travelers handle this on our behalf. That's the company that we've hired. So I encourage you to correspond with them directly. I encourage you to make sure that you provide them with all the information that they're requesting. But they handle it for us. That's why we hire an insurance company, because they handle it. The other thing, and whether intended or not, you mentioned the fact that you have a lawyer. So anytime you have a lawyer, then we very much, we're going to be very careful about our commentary anytime you mention the word lawyer. So I encourage you to continue your dialogue with Travelers. I will call Travelers and make sure that they're doing everything they're doing, but I can't control their ultimate decision. That's why we hire them. They're a good, reputable national company. So it's very unfortunate what occurred, but and I'll be here. I said this. I'll be here afterwards, but handle it directly with Travelers. They're the experts. That's why we hired them.
So are you saying that if they still decline it, that I'm just out of luck? Because does that seem reasonable to you?
As I mentioned, you used the word lawyer, so I'm not going to say anything further. Okay. And handle it directly through Travelers.
Okay. All right. So if I tell you that I just spoke to the lawyer in terms of what my options were in terms of what did tort immunity mean and how did that work, is that the same as what you were assuming?
So and Doug McCash is here also, and he is our general counsel. Okay. And he will be here after the meeting also, and so you can speak with both of us. Okay, but we take a very cautious stance anytime a member uses the word lawyer. We usually stop talking. Okay. Completely, because that is the prudent thing to do. And then we normally turn over all conversations between your attorney and the POA's attorney, which is Doug McCash, which is our general counsel. So Doug and I will be here after the meeting if you'd like to speak, but I don't have anything else to say. Okay.
You said there's no back and forth, so anything else?
Yeah, just after the meeting would be great, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, on to the next, the annual non-performing lot analysis.
Each year after the board election, we determine the members who are in good standing who can vote in the election. We determine that on March 31st. So we run this report, which is the members not non-performing lots. And those are lots, most of them are lots that are behind, at least 90 days behind on their paying their assessments. It also includes POA-owned lots, because we're not going to pay ourselves. And back in the day, years and years ago, the POA owned as much as 700 lots. So that was a large portion. We're down to 35 now. So it's really not much of an issue. But you can see the trend over the years has been just outstanding. And this is because the efforts of accounting, database, legal, member resources, all combining together. So as of end of the year 2015, we had 20.6% of all of our lots were non-performing. They were not paying their assessments. And we're now down to 1.98%. So we're under 2%, which is just outstanding. So what that means is that we have 7,261 additional lots that are now paying assessments that were previously not paying assessments. So that's really remarkable. So when Doug and his department have the online auctions, well, people buy those lots and then they start paying assessments. So we turn it from someone that wasn't paying an assessment to someone that is. When we do the judicial auctions, same thing, and then calling people and encouraging them to make their payments. Also, a couple additional pieces of information. In that same period, since 2015, we have 3,979 additional improved lots. Most of those are single-family homes, but it includes businesses, includes Concordia, which is, a large development where a lot of people live. So most of it is single-family homes. So you can see almost 4,000 additional homes over the last 10 years or so, which is just outstanding. Also, you'll see that since we're in the election time frame, we're talking about people opting in so they will only get an e-ballot. Right now we have 3,700 signed up for that, and we hope to grow that. With this election, if you vote online, you can actually click on a button after you vote. I did that just 2 days ago, and there's an option afterwards where you can click and opt in, and next year you won't get a paper ballot because the election costs the POA approximately $55,000 a year, and the majority of that is paper, postage, processing, the whole thing. So if we can send out as many e-ballots as possible, that's a good thing. And the rest of the information is available online, but good information.
On the non-performing lots, in the past you have mentioned a national average type of percentage of like communities that have non-performing. What was that number?
Last time I checked,
to reality how good they've done.
And that's a really good question. And I actually haven't checked that data in a little while, but it's usually about 15%. So to be at 2% compared to the national average of 15, very impressive.
Awesome.
Our sister community at Hot Springs, the last time I heard, and this was a couple of years ago, so this may be bad information by now, but they were in the 20s. So for us to be at 2% is just demonstrates a great job by a lot of people involved.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any questions? Next, we have a draft copy of the audit, and the audit committee met yesterday. They voted in favor of recommending the approval of the audit, which the board will take up next Thursday. And I think they're making a couple small adjustments. No, they're done. Beth's telling me they're 100% done. So unless something comes out of the woodworks, what you see is what you get. Another clean audit. That's outstanding. Great job for our accounting department. Another clean audit. Which is great, and a lot of information in there, and this will be available on our website if you want to go through it and have any questions and so forth. Any questions regarding the S?
Just one comment. At the conclusion of the audit, the last page, there's a section called Other Matter, which goes into omitted information by management about the estimates of future costs, major repairs and replacements. It's my understanding that we do not provide that information as part of the audit because of the cost that it takes to establish estimates on those maintenance and future projects as outlined or identified by us due to engineering costs, that sort of thing. I think it behooves us to make sure that we have some kind of a written part as our response to the audit that maybe outlines that, so that we don't get a lot of feedback from the public about, well, you're not really using standard GAAP procedures. Quite frankly, financially, it wouldn't make sense for us to go out and spend the money to have those things put into an audit so that we could qualify in GAAP.
You're 100% correct, and we actually talked about that at the audit committee meeting. Last time I got an estimate, which was, and this was a rough estimate, was last year, and it was $250,000 to do a reserve study. And I have a problem with reserve studies because they tend to use national averages, which don't necessarily work for our little island that we're in. When you're competing against a Walmart for concrete, you tend to pay more than the national average, and then you can extrapolate that outwards. But having a companion document, I don't have any problem doing that. But we actually talked about it at length yesterday with the audit committee and the auditors. And the auditor, Beth, why don't you jump in? What was the auditor's reaction?
Yeah, the auditor had the same opinion, because in order to remove that statement from the letter, it would have to be a third party that did the study. It couldn't be an internal study, and Tom had pointed out we have qualified contractors on staff who know what our repair and maintenance needs are out there. And the amount of cost involved it would to just estimate a reserve just did not make sense to him, just to be able to remove that paragraph from the letter, because the financials are stated according to GAAP. They're just missing a reserve statement. But other than that, they are completely GAAP, and they have a clean opinion, an unqualified opinion on it. They just have to, they're required to put in that paragraph that we have not supplied that.
So we can, I have no problem including a comment on that. And as Beth said, we have 2 licensed contractors on staff who have worked, well, one licensed contractor has been with us for 42 years. So is an outside agency gonna tell us more about our needs, or the licensed contractor who has 42 years of experience who's on staff? I would argue that. Any other questions on that? For next week's meeting, we'll have a memo attached stipulating that the audit committee made that recommendation. We just didn't have time to get it done. Absolutely. Next item on here is the budget calendar. We at the request of the board, we made 2 significant, well, not significant, 2 changes, or a couple changes. First of all, we're going to ask that the Joint Advisory Committee start a month earlier than normal and complete their work a month earlier than normal. So we're going to ask them to begin their work May 1 on putting together their recommendations, and then they would complete their recommendations by July 31st. An ad is on August 13th. The board will give the board will give the management team guidance on certain budget parameters and capital expectations. You'll notice that the JAC recommendations will already be in by the time that the board meets. We'll roll out the budget about on time, but we're going to actually complete it almost just shy of a week earlier. We're going to give the board a little more time. You'll see that the board, how am I doing? The budget needs to be provided to the board by October 26th. In our policy and in our previous practice, we usually provided it on October 31st, but we're adding additional days, give the board a little bit more time, and adding a little more stress on Beth and her team. So she's really looking forward to it. So, but we think this is a good, solid timeline. And so we're going to ask the board to vote on this at next week's meeting. Any questions? And the last item is we have, it's that time of year when we're going to be re-upping and adding new members to our JACs. Jessica has already contacted all the chairs to let them know that this is the time of year. So it's starting this month and it will continue for the next several months where we're voting on the recommendations from the committees. So our first one's up is from the Lakes Committee. Kevin Adelson is currently the vice chair and they're recommending him be approved for another term. And Scott Hawes is also a returning member of the Lakes Committee. So we're going to ask that the board vote on those two recommendations. And that's it.
Thank you. I failed at the first part of the meeting. Director Gaines is joining us via Zoom, by the way, so just to make note of that. Does anybody have anything else before we go into some announcements? Yes, Dave.
You mentioned the election.
You've been doing this long enough, David.
I know. You mentioned the election ballots being sent out. And this morning it dawned on me, I hadn't received my ballot yet, so I checked my spam. There it was. So why my computer doesn't like that email, I don't know. But I know it happens frequently, and people say, "Where's my ballot?" And that's where it goes. And I asked for the email only, so I didn't expect one in the paper, in this mail. But I was hoping that by mentioning it today, anybody who happens to be listening would, realize that and pass the word to neighbors, acquaintances, anybody, spread the word, check that spam folder, because it happens way too often, perhaps in the POA announcements, to mention checking the spam folder to find out if it just happens to be there.
I was gonna
That's,
ask.
the ballots
we-
are going out.
Can we just put out in our email blaster or whatever that this is the email address that it will be coming from? So that people know exactly what to search for, and then they can put that into their.
Mine land in my junk or spam box as well.
So, I mean, if we just put that out there, it makes it really simple for them to search for.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
I voted this morning. 1.9% of our eligible voters have voted, cast a ballot. We have how many days? 33 days, 32 days left?
Yeah, roughly. Vote? Is that what you're saying, Tom? You gonna make it?
Allergies are just killing me.
Anything else? Nope. All right, we'll go into some announcements. The regular Board of Directors session is Thursday, April 23rd at 6 p.m. here in the boardroom and live stream. Which boardroom or live stream will be on all these unless I note otherwise. Recreation JAC meeting is May 11th at 4 p.m. Lakes JAC meeting is May 13th at 2 p.m. Followed by the Golf JAC the 13th at 4 p.m. Rules and Reg meeting is May 14th at 1:30 here in the boardroom. The next Board of Directors General meeting, sorry, not general meeting, is it's early in the morning, is a closed meeting. Our next closed meeting is May 14th at 2:30. Our next work session is May 21st at 9. The annual meeting of members of election is Tuesday, May 19th at 6 here in the boardroom. Board officer and board liaison assignments are May 28th at 4, which is also a closed meeting, and the next Board of Directors regular session is May 28th at 6 p.m. Anything else? All right, we're adjourned.